I was going to cover some of the drama between Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson, especially the post-race comments from Denny Hamlin in regards to what Larson had to say in the post-race. But I saw that Elton Sawyer, one of NASCAR Senior Vice President of Competition, was explaining why he decided not to throw the yellow flag until after the white flag was thrown during the NASCAR Cup Series race at Pocono. And I was like, I just have to listen to this and we just have to cover it because I think the guy's just lying straight through his teeth. So let's listen to what he says here. He basically says that Ryan Preece had stalled. He stalled, he was going. So we wanted them to just race as much as we could under green, but we knew we were going to throw the yellow anyways. So then as soon as they got close to him, that's when we threw the yellow. But then he says at the same time, he says, we wanted them to race as much under green. What? You should have just thrown the caution right away and then had the NASCAR overtime restart and let them finish under green. If that's actually what you truly wanted, which I don't think you did. But let's listen to what Elton Sawyer had to say.
Yeah, I think you start, Pete, by looking at Pocono, and it's a 2.5-mile racetrack. Very similar to what we had in the Xfinity race on Saturday with the rear bumper cover sitting there at the start-finish line. In the tower, we were well aware of what was going on Saturday with the bumper cover, as well as the 41, in the tunnel turn.
Look at that. He's almost hits this guy right here. Ryan Preece does. There's another car coming up out of there behind him, the red car there. I'm not sure who that is. And then you have the yellow car right there. So there's two cars that Preece could have potentially come up and hit, or they could have hit him or something, but they refused to throw the yellow flag right away like they did throughout every other wreck during this race. They immediately threw the yellow flag, but they chose not to throw it here, even though there were multiple cars that Preece could have endangered during this wreck. Well, let's listen to what Sawyer has to say.
We're trying to do everything we can, to be safe and not run our drivers through a debris field, and to give our fans every opportunity and the competitors to race to the end of the event.
Well, if that's true, then why didn't you actually throw the yellow flag right away so we could have NASCAR overtime and they could actually race to the end of the event? If that's actually true. Because you ended the event early by waiting till he received the white flag and then threw the caution and took away them finishing the race under the green flag. So I don't believe you. I don't believe you, Elton Sawyer. Anyways, let's continue.
Where looked like the 41 had stalled, then he got rolling. Okay, now he stalled again, then he's rolling. It got to the point they're coming off turn one, and hey, we got to throw it. We've used up every bit of the runway on this one, so we had to throw it and end under caution. But
I think he thinks NASCAR fans are upset that they threw the flag in general. No, we're upset when you threw the flag. We definitely think you should have thrown the flag, but it's the fact that you threw the flag after the white flag had already been thrown, knowing then that the race would end with that caution flag rather than throwing it before going into NASCAR overtime. But let's continue.
Again, our goal is to do everything we can to finish under green, and that's what we were doing.
No, that's not what you were doing. If you were trying to finish under green, you would have thrown the caution right away before they had even reached the white flag because there was an accident and a car put other drivers in danger. Just like you did on every other single spin out the entire race at Pocono. Christopher Bell, probably the main example. Because he actually did get refired and continued to go down the straightaway there. But you had already thrown the caution, and he wasn't stalled out. He actually got refired immediately and kept going. But you threw the caution then.
Very similar to what we had on Saturday, again, with the bumper cover. We let them race. We knew we were going to have to throw the caution for the yellow flag in the Xfinity race. We just let them get as far around, let them race as long as they could before we threw it.
I think it's a load of crap. I think they knew that Preece wasn't going to get going at all anymore, and they were only going to throw that yellow caution until after that white flag came. But that is the excuse that Elton Sawyer and NASCAR is going to give us. I think it is an absolutely piss-poor excuse, and I just don't think a lot of NASCAR fans are really buying it because I think he's just lying through his teeth.